My mom bought herself a new car with the money I saved for a house. Now she's accusing me of being ungrateful. I still can't believe I'm even writing this because it doesn't feel real. Imagine working every single day for 6 years, scrimping and saving, watching your friends go on vacations, buying nice things, and knowing you can't because every cent is going towards your dream. And then one day you wake up and poof, it's gone. Every last dollar. Not because of some stranger, but because of the one person you thought you could trust more than anyone. Your mom. Let me back up. I'm 28 years old and have been saving for my first house since I graduated college. I didn't come from money. Far from it. My parents struggled my whole childhood, and I grew up watching them fight over bills, stress about rent, and go without basic things so we could get by. That's why buying a house has always been my goal. I wanted stability, security. I didn't want to spend my life in fear of losing the roof over my head. For 6 years I worked multiple jobs, budgeted like crazy, and finally managed to save $35,000. I was so proud of myself. I even opened a separate savings account for it so I wouldn't be tempted to touch it. The account was under my name, but because I was raised to trust my family completely, I let my mom have access to it. I didn't think anything of it at the time. She's my mom. She raised me. Why wouldn't I trust her? Last week I logged into my account to make the final transfer before meeting with my realtor. My heart was pounding with excitement. I was finally about to make this dream a reality. But when I opened the app, I froze. My balance was 0. At first I thought there had to be some kind of mistake. I refreshed the page. Closed the app. Opened it again. Still 0. My first thought was fraud. I immediately called my bank, frantic, and they told me the money had been withdrawn in 2 transactions over the past month. The withdrawals were done in person at a local branch. I asked them who authorized it, and when they said my mom's name, my stomach dropped. I didn't even know what to think. It felt like the ground had just been pulled out from under me. I called her right away, and the second she picked up, I knew. She sounded annoyed, like I was inconveniencing her. When I told her what I discovered, she said, "Oh yeah, I was going to tell you about that." My mind was spinning. I asked her what she did with the money, and she just casually said, "I bought a car. It's a BMW. Isn't that exciting?" Exciting. I couldn't even process it. I asked her why she thought it was okay to take my money without asking, and she got defensive. She said, "You weren't using it yet and I needed it. You're young. You have plenty of time to save. I've never had anything nice in my life, and I deserve this." I didn't even know how to respond. I just sat there in silence, my hands shaking, while she went on about how she was tired of driving junk cars and how this was her chance to finally have something she could be proud of. She even had the audacity to say, "You should be happy for me. After everything I've done for you, this is the least you can do." The least I can do. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This wasn't money I'd casually saved up over a few months. It was 6 years of my life. 6 years of sacrifices, sleepless nights, and saying no to things I wanted so I could build a better future. And she just took it like it was hers to begin with. The more she talked, the angrier I got. I asked her if she planned to pay me back, and she laughed. She actually laughed. She said, "I'll pay you back when I can, but you shouldn't rush me. It's not like you need it right away." At that moment I realized she didn't feel the slightest bit guilty. To her, this wasn't a betrayal. It was her right. I hung up on her. I couldn't listen to another second of her excuses. That night I sat in my apartment and cried for hours. I felt stupid for trusting her, but more than that, I felt betrayed. She was supposed to be the one person in my life who always had my back. How could she do this to me? Did she even care about my dreams? Or was I just a backup plan for her whenever she needed money? The next day I told a close friend what happened, and she was furious on my behalf. She told me I should demand the money back, but I know my mom. She doesn't have it. She used my savings for the down payment, and the rest is tied up in monthly payments for a car she couldn't afford in the first place. I've been trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wants to cut her off completely, but another part of me feels guilty. She's my mom. She raised me. She sacrificed so much for me growing up. Doesn't that mean I owe her something? Or am I just making excuses for her because I don't want to face the reality of who she really is? I don't even know what I'm hoping to get out of this post. Maybe I just needed to vent. Maybe I'm hoping someone here has been through something similar and can tell me how they handled it. All I know is right now I feel like I've lost not just my money, but my trust in her, and I don't know how to move forward from that. Update: after my first post, I honestly didn't expect so much support. Reading your comments made me feel validated and less alone. So thank you for that. Unfortunately, things have gotten worse. A lot worse. I've learned some things about my mom that completely changed how I see her, and now I'm questioning if I ever really knew her at all. It all started after I confronted her about taking my savings. After our initial fight, I stopped answering her calls. I was too angry and needed time to think. But my mom, she didn't seem to understand the concept of boundaries. She kept blowing up my phone, leaving voicemails alternating between guilt trips and outright anger. One minute she was sobbing about how she didn't mean to hurt me, and the next she was accusing me of being ungrateful for everything she'd done for me. I tried to ignore her, but then she started dragging the rest of the family into it. That's when things got messy. Apparently she told my aunt and cousins her version of the story, one where I'm some selfish, ungrateful brat who doesn't appreciate all the sacrifices she made for me growing up. She left out the small detail about stealing $35,000 and made it sound like I was mad because she borrowed a little money. Next thing I know, I'm getting texts from relatives I haven't talked to in months telling me how disrespectful I am. One cousin even said, "Your mom worked so hard to give you a good life, and this is how you repay her? She deserved something nice for once." I couldn't believe it. None of them even bothered to ask for my side of the story. At first I tried explaining. I told them exactly what happened, how I'd been saving for years, how she wiped out my account without telling me, and how she used the money to buy herself a BMW she couldn't afford. You know what their response was? "Well, she's your mom. Family comes first." Family comes first. Is that some kind of get-out-of-jail-free card? Does being a parent give you the right to completely disregard your child's hard work and steal from them? I was so furious I ended up blocking most of them. If they couldn't see what was wrong with what she did, I didn't need them in my life. But the more I thought about it, the more I started to realize something. This wasn't just about the car or the money. It was about control. My mom has always had this way of making me feel like I owe her everything. Growing up, she'd constantly remind me of how much she sacrificed for me. If I ever disagreed with her or tried to set boundaries, she'd guilt-trip me until I gave in. I didn't see it for what it was back then, but now it's like the scales have fallen from my eyes. The turning point came when I confided in one of my best friends who knows my family pretty well. She told me something I wasn't prepared for. "You know she did the same thing to your brother, right?" I was stunned. My brother and I aren't super close, but I had no idea he'd been through something similar. When I called him to ask, he hesitated at first but eventually told me the truth. Years ago, when he was saving up for college, our mom borrowed a chunk of his savings to renovate the house. She promised to pay him back but never did. He ended up having to take out extra student loans to cover what she took. When he confronted her, she used the same excuses: "I needed it more than you," and "I'll pay you back eventually." Hearing that broke something inside me. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was a pattern. My mom has been doing this for years, taking advantage of her kids' hard work and trust because she thinks she's entitled to it. And the worst part? She's never faced any real consequences. My brother let it go because he didn't want to cause drama. But I'm not willing to do the same. That brings me to the most recent development. After a week of ignoring her calls, my mom showed up at my apartment unannounced. She parked her shiny new BMW right in front of my building and acted like nothing had happened. She even tried to hand me the keys and said, "Why don't you take it for a spin? Maybe it'll help you see why I needed it." I almost laughed in her face. I told her I didn't care about the car. I cared about the fact that she stole from me and doesn't even feel bad about it. That's when she started crying and saying things like, "I'm your mother. I raised you. I deserve some respect." I told her respect is earned, not demanded, and that she lost mine the second she decided her wants were more important than my future. She didn't take that well. She stormed off, but not before saying, "Fine, if you want to act like a stranger, don't come crying to me when you need help someday." I stood there in shock, watching her drive away in the car she bought with my money, and all I could think was, "I'll never ask you for anything again." Since then, I've started looking into my legal options. A lot of you suggested I contact a lawyer, and I found one who thinks I might have a case. It's tricky because I gave her access to the account, but there are laws against misappropriation of funds, even between family members. It's not just about the money anymore. It's about standing up for myself. I'm still processing everything, but one thing's for sure. I'm done letting her walk all over me. She might be my mom, but that doesn't mean she gets to treat me like her personal ATM. I deserve better, and I'm finally starting to believe that. Final update. After my last update, I decided to go all in on the legal route. I met with a lawyer, explained everything, and they confirmed I had a case. Since my mom used my savings without permission for something unrelated to my benefit, it could be classified as theft or misappropriation, even though we're family. I felt a mix of relief and dread. I didn't want to go to court against my own mom, but at the same time, I couldn't let her get away with it. It wasn't just about the money. It was about standing up for myself. Here's where things started getting wild. My lawyer suggested filing a demand letter first. It's basically a formal notice that says pay me back or we'll escalate this legally. I thought it was a good way to give her one last chance to make things right without dragging this into a full-blown legal battle. So we sent the letter to her house. 3 days later, my mom called me. I didn't pick up because I wasn't ready to talk to her directly, but she left a voicemail. I still have it saved because it's just so surreal. In the message, she's crying, actual crying this time, not the fake manipulative kind, and she says something like, "I didn't mean for things to get this bad. I'm sorry, but you don't understand what's really going on." She sounded desperate, and for a second I felt a flicker of hope that maybe she was finally ready to take responsibility. But nope. That hope was shattered when I got a call from my aunt the next day. Apparently my mom had told the family I was suing her and that I was trying to ruin her life. My aunt said, "She's your mother. How could you do this to her? She's going through enough already." Enough already? What did that even mean? I decided to dig deeper. I started asking around carefully because I didn't want my mom to know I was looking into her business. That's when I found out something shocking. The BMW wasn't fully paid off. She'd used my savings for the down payment, but she financed the rest, and guess what? She was already behind on the payments. The car was on the verge of being repossessed. I couldn't believe it. She'd blown through my entire savings, and now she couldn't even keep up with the payments. What was she thinking? At this point, my anger started turning into something else, pity. I didn't want to feel sorry for her after everything she'd done, but it was hard not to. She dug herself into this hole, and instead of asking for help or being honest, she decided to drag me down with her. Things came to a head when I got a call from her bank. This her bank? They thought I was her because she'd added my name as a backup contact without telling me. The banker politely informed me that her account was overdrawn and they needed to discuss payment options for the car loan. I told them I wasn't responsible and asked them to remove my name from her account immediately. That's when it hit me. My mom wasn't just careless. She was reckless. And she was willing to involve me in her financial mess without my consent. I confronted her one last time. I told her I knew about the overdue payments, the bank calls, and how she'd been lying to everyone about what really happened. She broke down and admitted everything. Everything. She said she was drowning in debt, and when she saw my savings, she thought it was her only way out. "I didn't think you'd miss it," she said. "I thought I could pay it back before you noticed." That was the final straw. I told her I wasn't going to let her guilt trip me anymore, and I was moving forward with legal action if she didn't pay me back. She begged me to give her more time, but I stood firm. I was done being her safety net. Here's the twist. The day before our mediation was scheduled, I got a call from her ex-friend. This woman told me something that completely flipped the script. Apparently my mom had told her about the car and the money, and when my mom couldn't keep up with the payments, she tried to sell the BMW to this friend. The friend refused because she knew the car was still under financing and she didn't want to get involved in the mess. But here's the kicker. My mom had been planning to move out of state and leave the debt, and me, behind. She was going to ghost everyone. I couldn't believe it. She was ready to abandon her family and start over just to avoid facing the consequences of her actions. That's when I realized I wasn't just dealing with a selfish mom. I was dealing with someone who had no problem burning bridges to save herself. In the end, I didn't have to go to court. My mom agreed to mediation and, under pressure, sold the BMW to pay me back a portion of what she owed. I didn't get the full $35,000, but I got enough to start over. The rest I'm writing off as a lesson learned. We're not on speaking terms anymore, and honestly, I'm okay with that. I've set boundaries for the first time in my life, and it feels freeing. She may be my mom, but I've realized that family doesn't mean unconditional forgiveness. Trust has to be earned, and she broke mine beyond repair. Reddit exposed hub.